Hey there, welcome into the latest live edition of the Winner Circle presented by America's Best Racing and presented by Naira and Naira Bets, the official online betting partner of the Belmont Stakes and Saratoga Racecourse. I'm Bram Weinstein, that's JD Fox. Dan Torgman has the week off as we are getting, month away here, JD, from the Breeders' Cup, right? 1 month, 30 days?
Month away. I feel like we need more time to sort everything out because we had a busy weekend and we've got some great performances and some equally head scratchers that happened. So it's exciting time in racing, and we're just on the precipice of what should be in certain cases, a wide open Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, I mean, here's how busy it is. We're not even going to show Knicks Go romping. And Knicks Go, of course, my favorite horse going right now, who I like heading towards the Classic. I don't know where you are on that, but we don't even have the time to show him today for what he did over the weekend.
Yeah, no. One of the greatest things, obviously, I was on the Saturday ABR stream with Breeders' Cup, and we literally went off the air and talked about what the pace will be in the Breeders' Cup Classic for about 30 minutes. I wish we would have streamed that because that was almost more exciting than what the show actually was.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. All right, let's get into some other big moments from the weekend. Let's start in Belmont. Grade 1 Champagne. Let's start there. Some of the youngins as they head towards the Breeders' Cup. Check out Jack Christopher.
Jack Christopher now to take over the lead as the field comes for the top of the stretch. Gunite is back running in second. Command Performance has now moved into third. It is Jack Christopher with the lead in the stretch. 3/4 up in 1:11. Jack Christopher is putting in a big effort here in the Champagne Stakes. Command Performance is now moving into second. It is Jack Christopher in front by 4. Jack Christopher stretches out, steps up, and puts in a grade 1 effort to win the Champagne. Echo.
All right, so Jack Christopher, easy winner there. Jose Ortiz rode Jack Christopher, even said afterwards, didn't even give me everything he had. So I guess there's more to come if they can summon it out of Jack Christopher. So that was about as impressive as you're going to get as we head towards Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, that was the distance test, and I think that passed with flying colors there. Saw no issues there, really motored down at the end, and I do think we didn't see the bottom of the animal there. So that's going to be exciting to see what the true potential of Jack Christopher was, but impressive performance nonetheless.
Yeah. All right, let's get a young gun runner out there. Echo Zulu, $400,000 grade 1 Belmont day as well. Check out Echo Zulu in the stretch run.
Maybe.
Considering it. Echo Zulu has decided not to comply with us. Take our word for it. Won easily. What do you make of Echo Zulu?
Echo Zulu obviously kept going. This horse was ridden out, but has been impressive. 3 for 3, obviously, and winning the Frisette there. Sky's the limit in relation to what we could see from this animal. I think distance is not an issue. We could see further distances down the line. Super excited with the performance there from Echo Zulu in the Frisette.
Yeah, I agree as well. All right, let's go to the other coast. I want you to check out the American Pharoah Stakes. It has a Bob Baffert horse. That's a complicated story here, but Corniche was outstanding. So let's just start with the news of the day, which was hopefully the StreamYard will comply with us this time. Check out Corniche in the stretch run at the American Pharoah Stakes.
The quarter pole and turning for home. Corniche trying to fend off Rockefeller, and he's done it. Corniche turns for home, Fuller run, opens up 3. Papa Cap now takes up the chase into second, trying to close in on Corniche. Coming to the 16th, and it's Corniche breezing through the stretch. He's the real deal. Corniche takes him coast to coast in the American Pharoah.
All right, so easy win there for Baffert, easy win for Mike Smith. Corniche goes to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. That's about half the story. So what do you want to say about Corniche first?
Well, I was there at Santa Anita on Friday, and that was an impressive performance. I was obviously fading Corniche in that spot. I had the runner-up in that race, but there was a bit of a rail bias at Santa Anita this weekend, and if you got an early, easy lead on the rail, it seemed to be very, very difficult to catch, and we'll see where that may have been prevalent again in a race we're going to show in segment 2. But it's a super impressive 2-year-old from Bob Baffert. I mean, at this point, you can take the conversation one of two directions. And I'm going to stay on the positive and say this is a very well-bred animal that probably had this performance in no matter who the trainer was.
All right. So here's the other part of this. Because of the uncertainty of his ability to race at Churchill Downs, Corniche doesn't get the points that a horse normally would get to the Kentucky Derby Trail. So we're in a very odd space here. When all this stuff went down, and amazingly, here we are in October, and it has not been settled with what happened with Medina Spirit back in the spring. As of now, Baffert's horses can't race in the Kentucky Derby. And there's part of me that thought the fallout of that would be that horses like this wouldn't be in his barn at this point this year. Yeah. And yet they are. So I would assume that the connections are under the assumption that this is not only going to get cleared up, but that Corniche and others like him are going to be available next spring to run in the Derby. Otherwise, I don't know why they would be running out of the Baffert barn if, to your point, you think that the animal's good enough to win no matter who the trainer is.
Yeah, and that's really the whether retroactive points are awarded or if they feel that this will be settled and for the early 3-year-old preps that they're going to be able to get points for them. I don't know. Obviously, the connections feel the most comfortable with Bob Baffert in the spot. They've used Bob Baffert for pretty much their entire career as owners. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a really tricky position because it does seem like, there's still some due process that Bob Baffert is owed in this situation. I'm not going to sit on either side of the fence there and don't really want to get into it because I feel like we've been over it 1,000 times on the show. But it's just an interesting spot. So you go with what you're comfortable with. You win easily like that. We'll see where they go next. Because again, you would think Breeders' Cup, but no points on the line. Maybe you look someplace else. Maybe you look at opening of Santa Anita on the December 26th. There's some good stakes action there. I don't know where you go.
I don't know either. There's all sorts of, like, in my mind, there were all these workarounds. Like, do you wink, wink, put this horse in someone else's barn? And when everything else finally shakes out, you put him back in Baffert's barn by leaving him there now. And listen, I'm with you. I don't want to turn this into a bash Baffert segment because that's not what I'm into today. I just found this really interesting that the owners and connections would move forward with this because this isn't just an average racehorse in average races. This is a major stakes horse that's now going to the Breeders' Cup that should be on the Derby Trail, and none of that is promised and none of it's entitled, but they aren't seemingly putting themselves in position to even be on the trail as it stands now. Do they know something we don't know about what's coming with Baffert down the line? Like, that's where I'm asking the question. Do you know something about the due process that's going to shake out soon enough that you felt comfortable doing this? Because if you do, I'd love to hear what it is. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, because we're sitting here and the Derby is still not decided, and that stuff all shook out 4.5 months ago. So
I know.
That's
a whole other thing. I mean, the fact that they can't come to a conclusion. I know. The fact that they can't come to a conclusion about that so that we can even move forward to the spot that we're here now is, I don't understand it. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I get what the due process is or how this should work out or what speed it should happen at. Still, by Corniche running under Baffert's barn in a race of that magnitude, heading to the Breeders' Cup, not getting the points, and maybe to your point retroactively, but not getting them now, tells me the connections believe that they're going to end up, that Baffert's going to get cleared and get everything back by the time the spring rolls around. And if they don't, what an incredible and unnecessary risk they took with Corniche at this juncture. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they feel either way the horse is good enough. If they need to rebarn for the early 3-year-old preps and get points that way, I mean, they still have the opportunity to do it. And if you're that confident in the horse, and we saw what the horse did on the track, maybe they should be at this stage.
Yeah, maybe they should. All right, we'll get to the other one that kind of started all the problems from the Kentucky Derby in a second. But bet your favorite tracks online with Naira Bets, available nationwide in 30 states. Naira Bets offers best-in-class HD live video and replays, online contests to compete with other Naira Bets players, exclusive promotions that give back more, and expert picks and analysis. With an easy-to-use, free-to-download app, betting horse racing online has never been easier and safer. Sign up for Naira Bets now to earn a $200 sign-up bonus with promo code ABR200. Welcome back to the Winner Circle presented by Naira and Naira Bets. I'm Bram Weinstein. JD Fox is in for Dan Torgman this week. All right, let's get into Medina Spirit. We talked about the most recent Baffert stud that is heading towards the Breeders' Cup. Let's take a look at the Kentucky Derby winner, I guess, at this point. Take a look at the Kentucky Derby winner, Medina Spirit, who's back on the trail and heading towards the Breeders' Cup Classic. Let's first show you the stretch run at the Awesome again, and then we'll talk about the kind of circuitous way that he got to this race.
The stretch, Medina Spirit, Tripoli on the outside, Stiletto Boy running a good race with the White Blaze on the inside. They're a furlong from the finish, and Medina Spirit has been cruising the entire journey, asked to finish the job now, and he is finishing with a flourish. Medina Spirit makes a statement in the Awesome again, romping home to win by 5 widening lengths. Stiletto Boy second, Express Train third, then Tripoli and Tis a Magician.
All right, so it's hard to sit there and say that any win is more impressive than, say, the Kentucky Derby, but considering the asterisk that's been placed on the Kentucky Derby, I actually thought that was the most impressive win of Medina Spirit's career to this point. How about you?
Yeah, no, the big expectations that day. And then obviously everybody was getting on. I talked about it earlier. Rail bias, early speed, Medina Spirit's going to win by the length of the stretch. It almost happened. But the most interesting thing that happened, Bram, and we saw this all weekend at Santa Anita, you ended up after Medina Spirit was 2-5, 3-5. You ended up getting 6-5 on Medina Spirit. And get this, Bram, Medina Spirit was not the favorite in the place pool. Tripoli was. We saw some interesting late wagering at Santa Anita that may or may involve the computers that are failing us on this very show. Who knows? But a very impressive performance.
What are you getting at, JD? What exactly are you getting at here?
I'm dancing around it. And if you watch this show after releases, we'll clean up the video for you. And if you're listening on audio, obviously you're not seeing any issues. So thanks for joining us wherever you find your podcast. But, you know, obviously Tripoli, very disappointing there. Very strong effort from Medina Spirit. Stiletto Boy was a horse I actually liked quite a bit and gave out as a potential play and a potential exacta partner for Medina Spirit on the ABR stream on Saturday. So 50-1 there. Thank you. Still have yet to get the flowers or congratulations that should come with that, but Dan assures me they're in the mail. So what can you say? Medina Spirit looks poised and primed for the Breeders' Cup. I mean, I just there's no ruling saying that Baffert horses can't run there. So at this stage,
and what you think he's going to run the Classic, right? He's going to run in the Classic.
Going to run in the Classic and be part of the fastest speed duel we'll see in Classic history, or one of those races where no one goes and someone gets an easy lead and wins by 12. It could happen either way.
This race is, and this happens sometimes. It's rare, but it's happened sometimes, especially off of this performance by Medina Spirit, because now he's going to get some big money put on him. You're going to get some really favorable odds on a monster in this race. This is going to be a great betting race. I mean, you got to throw some darts here, but like I said earlier, I love Nick's Go. You're going to give me something that's in the 3-1 range, maybe. If that actually is going to happen, that's like a gift in my mind.
Yeah, and I'm going to bet a horse at like 80-1 that probably should be like 20-1. I'll take the other side of the value, Bram. I'll take a deep closer and just
no doubt
do a little of this.
Yeah. The back end of that ticket is going to have a bomb on it. I mean, it's set up for this because it's too spread out, and the ones that everyone knows can't win are going to have absurd odds on them at the bottom of it. All right. So that was Medina Spirit. Oh, real quickly, just your thoughts on this, because obviously he's validated. He didn't run in the Pennsylvania Derby because he didn't like the post position, and then put him in the Awesome again. So I guess, I don't know. He probably would have won either one, but I guess he did the right thing. Right? You did the right thing here.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I think probably would, with that performance, would have won even maybe more impressively at the Pennsylvania Derby. But home track, obviously where Medina Spirit's most comfortable, and we saw it on Saturday.
All right, let's check out another huge one from over the weekend. The Woodward Stakes had a really deep field, and Art Collector came out large in that one. So check out the Woodward stretch run.
Okay.
Or not.
Over Mo Gotcha and Forza d'Oro. Now Dr. Post makes a move on the extreme outside to take fourth. Maxfield now comes through down at the rail, and Code of Honor 3/4 in 112. It is Art Collector who's been in front right from the start. Maxfield now moves into second. Then it is Forza d'Oro. Dr. Post being asked for more. Code of Honor is down towards the rail. It's Art Collector who has the lead with an eighth of a mile to the finish in the Woodward. Art Collector's in front, then Maxfield, and on the outside is Dr. Post. Art Collector has the lead, now a 16th out, and it's going to be a front-running score as Art Collector brings his A game to win the Grade 1 Woodward. Art Collector over Maxfield.
All right, strong. You heard all the names that are in that field. Strong field over the weekend. Dr. Post might be, I don't know, falls into the category of one of the most inconsistent horses I think I've ever seen, where he'll have these moments where he's just streaking down the stretch and you can see the speed and the ability, and it's just not there for an entire race. And so I'm not surprised he finished where he finished. Code of Honors in this race. Maxfield, of course, had a strong year. I don't know. Are you surprised by Art Collector or no?
I think given how that race ended up setting up, I mean, it was Art Collector's to lose based on how the pace scenario wound up coming out of the gate. But again, Art Collector also not the most consistent horse. So you've got, a few horses that can fire some big shots, and hopefully for the connections, that wasn't Art Collector's biggest shot of the year, because they're going to be looking for a very aggressive placement as well coming up. Dirt Mile, I'm guessing, might be a potential. So hopefully still got a little bit in the tank as the prep went well, and hopefully you get the same horse that ran on Saturday showing up in November at Del Mar.
Yeah, quick note too from overseas, because it's the time of year where all the Euro contenders are getting set to ship over and race in the Breeders' Cup. In the Arc de Triomphe, there was a 70-1 horse that won that race. Is that the biggest upset? I don't know. I'm going to put you on the spot. Was that the biggest upset ever in that race? 70-1?
It's not the biggest upset ever. That was the 100th running, but it's in the top five. Certainly, Takeda Tasso wins it for Germany. And interesting there, that kind of flattered a form of a horse I like if it comes back over for the Breeders' Cup turf, and that is Walton Street, as Takeda Tasso finished right ahead of Walton Street in the last race, which of course was the Longines Groschier Brenz von Berlin. Bram, obviously a race you follow every year.
Bucket list for me.
Yeah, and then Walton Street came back and won the International at Woodbine. So obviously Walton Street expecting to come back over for the Breeders' Cup. That just flatters the form. And we might see Takeda Tasso come over as well now, because literally they have nothing to lose at this stage. Even, I'm assuming, yeah.
Those with short memories won't remember that Nick's Go at one point was a 70-1 horse that won a race. Yeah. So I don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And the other thing is that I don't know. This is embarrassing. This is the first I've ever heard of this German race that you just spoke of. Never even heard of that.
Yeah, that's the big Group 1 part of the German Triple Crown. So there you go.
I didn't even know Germany liked horse racing. I'm shocked by this.
Well, the German breeding has been killing Southern California turf racing for the last 5 years or so. And you can see that they sometimes keep some good ones at home. And that was the case there with Takeda Tasso winning the Arc de Triomphe on Saturday.
All right, cool. All right, let's we'll get to Tom, because the world is talking about Tom Brady's return. So we'll get to that in a moment, but first check this out.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
And welcome back to the Winner Circle, presented by Naira and Naira Bets. I'm Bram Weinstein. JD Fox is in for Dan Torgman this week. All right. It seems like everybody must have an opinion about Tom Brady going back to New England last night. I was happy to hear, I don't know, just as a human being, that apparently Bill Belichick had a 20-minute meeting with him after the game last night because it felt almost too cold, considering I get it. These are two big ego maniacs, but you know what? Like, they did something together that no pairing has ever done before and might not ever do again in the history of the sport. And so I was happy to hear that they were able to sit down and talk it out. And I don't know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to watch that last night, to see, you know, a regular season game kind of have that kind of meaning and matter. And it was cool to see Brady playing up there again.
Yeah, and the emotion, obviously it got to Tom in a couple steps, and in the post game interview with Michelle Tafoya, saying, "You're not going to make me cry because I've already cried enough today." And it's like that emotion you saw on the field, and really you kind of saw a bit of the future as well. It was great to see Tom Brady back, but I think you have to take away that game that, hey, Tom Brady, got the passing yards record and won, and now has defeated every team in the NFL. But Mac Jones played a heck of a game, Bram.
Yeah, he was good.
I think really what we saw was the confidence the Patriots had in him, and really just letting him open up the playbook. He's out there making the checks, making the play calls in Josh McDaniel's system. And really, we saw the maturation of Mac Jones. And really, it was a 1-2 punch and not necessarily the high scoring blowout that some saw. Now, the weather probably had a little bit to do with that. It was rainy all night, and then it started pouring in the fourth quarter. But, it was an impressive performance from the Patriots, all things considered. And after the game, Tom Brady, it seemed like he hugged every member of the Patriots staff and every player.
Yeah.
Everybody had mad respect for him. And that was great to see after the stories we saw in the media this week.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, the timing of the book from ESPN, I know Seth Wickersham, and he's a great, great, great reporter, and I'm sure all of his sourcing is cool. But like this week, to dig up all the dirty laundry, pull out all the skeletons, felt like not ill-timed. I mean, I get it. He's trying to sell books, so I get it. But like, it was like, wow, like we have to take a sledgehammer to these guys, this week after all the things that they accomplished. Like, of course it wasn't easy. It's football. Like, there's a lot of egos. Not everybody's going to get along. Like, like obviously, and there's going to be a lot of things that are going to come out with all of it. I thought it was cool to see it. And just as like a P1 fan of the sport, it was really cool to watch it and see him go back there and see how much meaning was clearly attached to the whole thing. And I thought it was very cool. And the record to me didn't really matter. I mean, he owns every single record. He already was the greatest, quarterback of all time. And so that to me didn't really stand out. But I will give you one little hot takey thing off of it, which I think, and it's to your point, really a little bit about Mac Jones and coming around. No one's talking about this yet, but the Buccaneers defense has been underperforming significantly this year, and could become, if it doesn't change, and I believe it will change, but if it doesn't change, is going to become a humongous Achilles heel for them by the end of this season. They came into this, and I know it was only a few weeks, but they were ranked 23rd or 24th in total defense. If you had seen them play up to this point, you would not have pictured them as a Super Bowl winning defense. So we'll see if that turns around. And I think the cream will rise to the top, because I think they have too many good players, especially in their front seven. But right now, if you want a hot take on them, their defense stinks. And that partially might have something to do with how Jones performed against them.
True. I mean, you had Richard Sherman coming in off the street playing 70% of the defensive snaps. I mean, that tells you something.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it. What we got? One more Breeders' Cup. Yep.
The one thing I want to say, Bram, because I can't let you down. Yesterday, a banner day for JD's. Just talk a little bit about the emotion of JD McKissick's big run into the end zone for the Washington football team.
Oh
yesterday.
Man. I call the Washington football games, and that was something yesterday. I mean, I know it wasn't on a lot of people's radars because it was Washington and Atlanta, and both 1 and 2 teams coming in, but that was one of the craziest football games I've ever been involved with. We had a 101-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. We had 2 unbelievable scores at the end of the game, not just the McKissick one, but this one to Terry McLaurin that if you haven't seen the highlight of, where it just gets thrown up for grabs, and McLaurin like almost fools the defensive back and like slips around him and makes this catch in the end zone. It's unbelievable. McKissick does Superman into the end zone after turning the corner at the 30 with 30 seconds to go and getting to the pylon. It really that was not an average football game. It was truly amazing. And after it was over, I was wiped. I mean, I was just like, I don't think I've ever been part of anything like that. And it was so cool. And now, this is 2 and 3 weeks for Washington where they won essentially at the buzzer. So it's been quite a few weeks here around here.
No, and like I said, you can always count on JD's in the clutch, and that was a clutch play from McKissick there.
JD McKissick is one of the most underrated players in the NFL. I don't think people recognize like what a huge contributor he is for this particular team. He's turned into a great running back. People were laughing at me last year. I compared him to Kamara, and he's not as good as a running back, but as a receiver, he can be almost as effective as Alvin Kamara. I mean, he's kind of got that kind of skill set, and you saw it on the touchdown at the end of the game. It's pretty crazy. All right, JD, cool doing the show with you. I'll see you soon. And to all of you out there, thanks for watching and listening to The Winner's Circle. We'll see you next week.